Well, they had a thing in Derry called the City of Culture. They were awarded the City of Culture. And they asked me to revive Field Day, which was a company that had been in existence before, from 1980 right up to the beginning of the 90s. And so I wondered what I might do, and I thought I'll speak to Sam. So I called him up and asked him to do something. He very quickly agreed. And this happened to be what he was working on, or thinking about working on.
Stephen Ray phoned me up and just said, would I like to get involved? He said, look, I'm doing this play with Field Day for the Derry City of Culture. It'd be a great, play for them. And I said, well, what is the play? He says, well, I've asked Sam Shepard to write a play. So I was like, yeah, I'm there, I'm in.
It was really quite thrilling, I knew Sam Shepard. Only ever thought I'd be reading his plays.
The opportunity to work with Sam Shepard, and have him be part of the process is pretty much every actor's dream.
Last year in Derry, it was a very exciting time for that city. Derry has, quite a few places in Ireland, experienced quite dark days in the past. And Derry as a city is really coming into its own. It is a hub of culture, quite an extraordinary city. It was a great welcome for the play when it actually was performed, with its suggestions of a buried history, and it did sort of reflect on what that city has been through.
And Jim Houghton came and saw the show in Derry and proposed transferring it, and I was thrilled about that. It's very good for the company to be here. And it's very good for people in Derry to realise that a play can premiere in Derry and then immediately get to New York. It's kind of approval of the quality of the production that it can transfer with very little change.
Even though the whole Northern Ireland thing doesn't feature within the play itself, you can definitely feel the resonance of it beneath it, and it does feed the characters. I think it feeds Lawrence, what Lawrence says a lot, and Langos also, and Langos brings it into the American, into the riff on the Oedipus story. I think given the current political climate, it's relevant, it's very relevant.
I think there was still a lot of things they wanted to develop. So it wasn't like we got handed a bunch of stage directions and walk here, say this line this way. So it still very much felt like we were exploring the characters and also exploring the relationships between the new characters and the ones that came from Ireland.
If you're familiar with Sam's work, and you read these plays, Barry Child and True West and Curse of the Starving Class, and they all have this kind of mythological father figure in them. And so when I heard that there was a Shepard adaptation of Oedipus, I was like, well, of course there's a Shepard adaptation of Oedipus. He's been writing that play for a long time.
What's interesting is that Sam and Nancy and Stephen all knew and worked with each other in that heady, vibrant London fringe scene of the early 1970s. It's interesting, even all those years later, 40 years later, watching the sort of shorthand that exists between them in the rehearsal room.
It's really wonderful to feel all the different cadences you get from different audiences and different regions, different countries. Some things are just going to go, but I don't really feel that with this, because Oedipus, it's a story that people know. Not that you might not know the story from this production. It's a disjointed, dark, embodied experience, rather than a linear tale.
So it's very exciting to be a part of it. It's between Field Day and Signature and Sam and Steve and Nancy, it's an honour. It's a great thing.